Welcome to the show formerly known as Soul Happy Success. You're now listening to the CEO Crowd Show. It's a show because we're on YouTube and podcasts, and I don't know what else to call it. And we are designed for female entrepreneurs who don't follow the norm. Maybe you've been called or you felt different. Maybe you have a different idea of what success is, different to what you see on social media, which likely involves working in your PJs and having a messy bun, getting it done. And most importantly, you know that you're here to make an impact while living the life that you want, whether that is jet setting around the world or at home chilling, a mix of both. So if you're ready to be motivated, informed, and entertained, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Rebecca Nesbitt, and founder of the CEO Crowd. And this is the first show I have recorded in 5 months, which may seem really confusing because we've been posting weekly for those past 5 months. So today I'm going to share my hack to batch create so much long form content, you pretty much don't have to worry about it for nearly half a year, and the pros and cons of doing this, my lessons learned so that you don't make the same mistakes, so that you can go on to batch create a whole chunk of content and it go really seamlessly. So let's start with the story of how I created 21 pieces of long form content. And I'll be honest, that was a busy month. So back in June, I'm recording this now in November. Back in June, I was 3 weeks from launching a group program. And I'll just be really honest because we value honesty in our house. I did not have enough leads to fill the program. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to launch this, but what if the people aren't there? And I feel like if you're here, you get it. You put out something brand new and you're like, I don't know if this is going to stick. So because I didn't have the leads, what did I choose to do? I could have done an insane amount of outreach, but I felt like I was already a little burned out with that. So I decided instead to deliver 21 days of live trainings to offer free value and spark conversations and entice buyers. I chose Facebook as my platform. Then a spark of genius dawned on me. You know, those moments where you're like, this is from God, she is a woman. And P.S. Any faith, any religion goes in our house. God, Yoda, the Force, whomever, like that's just my joke. God is the woman. Anyway, so back to the point. I had decided I was going to do these 21 days live on Facebook. And then what dawned on me was, what if I'm going to create this content anyway? So what if I record on Facebook as almost like a practice run for myself and then re-record to upload on YouTube and podcast, and I'll just launch them or schedule them out weekly. And that's exactly what I did. By the way, these lives, so purely the live portion, so the 21 days, actually led to 4 new paying clients between 1 and 3K. The other thing that we love in our house alongside honesty is numbers. So I'm not saying that that would be potentially your experience. Yours may be better. It may not be as lucrative, but I feel like that was not bad for 21 days of work as a bonus on top of having 5 months of consistency on YouTube and podcasts. So before we get into my top hack of knowing exactly what content to create, because I think that that's something that when we see 21 days, we think, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to say for 21 days? If you had someone in front of you, I'm sure, like, if you're a coach, if you had someone in front of you, 21 sessions would be so easy. But 21 days of me just talking to camera, like, what do I say? So before we get into that hack, let's do a little pro con list so we can silence that gnawing that happens in our brain when it intakes new information that feels like it's going to be hard work. It's like 21 days of consistency on social media to show up live. And if you are a woman with long hair, I understand what this means for you. I have had so many conversations with clients lately on if you are showing up every single day for something. And I do think that consistency and frequency are very different, but this is consistent and frequent. So we'll go with it. If you are someone that has long hair it's just an extra layer of drama. I'm not going to lie, because you're trying to plan, when is my hair going to be done? I don't want to show up. I don't want to show up with the messy bun and getting it done, because I'm going to record these and they're going to be evergreen content. They're going to be on YouTube and podcasts forever. And we blow it out of proportion so much. So I feel you. You can do this, is what I'm going to say on that. So let's go into the pros, which we've totally covered already. Pro one, we love clients in the door. And this is the potential of actually showing up consistently and frequently on social media every single day and delivering nothing but value. I delivered 2 weeks of nothing but value, and then 1 week I had a pitch at the end. So 2 weeks of genuinely just like, see you tomorrow, come back tomorrow. And then the third week was, if you want to learn more about this, come along to, I had a masterclass at the very end. After the masterclass, I launched my program. So we need clients in the door. It's the lifeblood of your business. And I think that female entrepreneurs specifically really struggle with this part, is like asking for money. And that is another podcast for another day. But this gives you a place to have really authentic communication with people. And based on the people that were watching it and the comments I got, I was able to tweak little things. I was able to add people's names into the Facebook one specifically, not to YouTube, but I was able to make it very resonant for the people that I knew were actually watching and the people that I knew I wanted to come into my program. So it's a good thing to do something that brings clients in the door. And interestingly, showing up live, if you're in any way, shape, or form a business coach, is so important that you do with consistency and frequency. People are really interested in the people that can actually achieve that, and they want to know how, and that's probably why you're here. But it does a lot for your business in terms of perception, and they say that perception is reality, right? So it gives you clients in the door, and it also makes you more desirable to clients in the future, and it may continue to generate clients for you. People will watch you and they'll watch your journey. People have been watching me since the beginning. Some of them haven't bought yet, and a whole bunch of them have. So allow this process to get clients in the door from now until forever, because you are creating evergreen content too. And evergreen content is just content that's on repeat that people can access anytime. Like, you don't have to be there for them to access it. So the second pro that we have is over 5 months of consistency on YouTube and podcasts. Oh my God. This stress relief is incredible. I'm a part of a podcasting group with the coolest women ever. And I'm so grateful to surround myself with amazing women. But the podcasting group that I'm a part of, a big part of the conversation is like, how do you stay consistent? And a lot of women have taken breaks, and I am not against a break. I love a break for you. Like, I am such a big fan of the break. If you are into human design, I'm a manifester. I need a break. And just as a human, I feel like we all need a break sometimes. So I'm a huge fan of the break. However, sometimes we feel like we have to sacrifice either our business or ourselves, and that never lands you in a good position. Have I taken breaks in my business in the last 5 months? Absolutely. Does it look like it? Nope. Nope, it does not, because I'm just planful. And this alleviation of pressure of feeling like you have to create content every week, or you have to edit every week, or you have to like, it's not enjoyable. And I know that there is a mindset shift of have to get to, but sometimes it really feels like you have to do it, and it sucks. So that is the other pro, is that for the last 5 months, I have rarely thought, except from every Tuesday where I've spoken about it on my Instagram, I've rarely thought about podcasts and YouTube. It's just something that is generating in the background. It's not something that I'm actively growing. It's something that's naturally growing, and I'm happy with that. And it's not where my full attention is. My full attention is on my membership. So it's just been such a stress alleviation. I cannot even tell you. And from the conversations that I'm having within the podcasting arena, whether it is in that specific group or whether it's a part of, my husband and I are part of a mastermind with Brendan Bouchard, whether it's conversations that we're having at the mastermind, then this is such a key pro. We can't sidestep it. So we've got two really valuable pros, but we did have some cons. So con number one was you cannot promote a last decision offer, which is a really big problem if you change your mind. So essentially what I was saying was I launched a course at the beginning with this 21 days. Now, I then transitioned, my family life changed, and I think I should speak about that in another, or I could speak about that in another podcast, because we chose to run my business differently. And because it was a joint decision with myself and my husband, we chose to run my business slightly differently and look into what life would look like with recurring revenue and more time leverage. And I'm a big fan of those things. And to put my energy there, I had to take it out of the high ticket space and I had to take it out of larger group program space, because group programs, you're still on a launch model. So, pretty much after I had launched my coaching program, then I decided I was going to go all in with my membership. So, not only could I not promote that, or have I not been promoting that through podcast and YouTube for the last 5 months, I've also been thinking, this doesn't make sense for my client now, which is a big problem. So what I would say is, if you are choosing to do this, have a really fixed offer that you know that you're going to stick with for 6 months. And I know that a lot of people are like, focus on the one thing. And that can be so hard, because then we get into the realm of like, but I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur and I want to do all the things. Just know that it's much harder to promote a last minute decision offer, or even a last minute decision within the next 6 months. And the other thing that I would say on that is that if you change your mind and it doesn't quite map over, then that conversation with your client is like a little bit strained because it's different. And that can be really challenging for the client. So don't just think about yourself in this, think about the people that you're trying to serve, and you want to serve them to the best of your ability. I know that what you can do to get around this and circumnavigate it while you're in it. So if you have recorded 6 months and you're just like, oh my gosh, I've decided to do something new, you can add like a mini ad for yourself in. But that still creates a rub, because what if, so for example, I'm talking about coaching specifically in the last 5 months of this content, and now I speak overall to entrepreneurs. So it's a little confusing when someone that's not in coaching listens to my podcast, because everything is directed at coaches, which is interestingly probably why we attract a lot of coaches into the CEO Crowd membership. But conversation for another day. But that is a huge con, is that you cannot promote a change in decision or a last minute decision or offer. Con number 2 was the 21 days is a challenge motivationally. And there are tips and tricks for sure, but you do need to commit to it. And the thing with 21 days is, if you do this, and I say this specifically to female entrepreneurs, and I don't think this is a conversation we have enough, and we definitely have had that conversation in this podcast before. If you hop back to our session with Renata Trebbing, and we don't have this conversation enough. If you are doing those 21 days, do not let your period fall in those 21 days, just to make it easier for yourself. Just to make it easier for yourself. It's not that it can't happen. And I wouldn't say like put it off so it's after your period. But what I would say is really consciously think about it in terms of your energy, because there were some days where I was literally coming to the screen and I was like, I am doing this because I'm committed to my business. And I made a commitment to myself. I made a promise to myself. I do not break the promises I keep to myself. But I know that that's not how everyone's brain works. And if you're struggling with consistency already, or with frequency already, then it can be a challenge motivationally. So I'm just going to put that out there. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you how to fix these in a minute. And the third con is posting about it so long ago, you totally forget what you said. And being honest, like you'll forget the anecdotes that came out, you'll forget some of the story, you'll forget. It was over 5 months ago. Like, what did you have for dinner 5 months ago? You have no idea, right? So let's avoid these cons, because I think there's a way, and there is a way for me going forward, because I will do this again. This was absolutely one of the best experiences in business, because it takes so much pressure off your plate. It gives you a really full month. So I would say take this on in a month where everything else is a little bit less. But the gains are so high, astronomical high. So how would we avoid these cons? So the first con was you can't promote those last decision offers, right? decide that you have a fixed offer for the next 5 months. And if you are doing any kind of flash sale or any flash sales coming up, like a Black Friday, then plan that in advance so that your weeks sync up. And I know that we alluded to that a minute ago, but that would be how you could get over that. Or you could use that ads function where you give yourself like a little ad in the middle of your own podcast. The second con, so the 21 days, how to circumnavigate that is find someone else to do it with. Like, find an accountability buddy. We have business besties in our CEO Crowd membership. That's what we call them, because accountability like buddy is kind of old school. And business bestie sounds cooler. But every single month, at the beginning of the month, we literally have a post where it's like, what are you doing this month? What is your main goal? And let us match you up with someone to support you. And I think that that is such a gift of our membership. But if you don't have access to that, what you can do is you can speak to your friends that are in the entrepreneurship space. If you don't have any of them either, because at the beginning, sometimes you feel like you're out on this on your own, then please come along to one of our CEO Crowd events. They are totally free, and meet someone there. Ask for an accountability partner. We just had this last night happen, that someone asked for an accountability partner. And I literally messaged her today and I was like, hey, did you find someone? Checking in, because that's really important. That's our little aftercare, a little over deliver, should you say. And let's dive into the third con, posting about it so long ago that you forgot what you said. Because this really is something, right? I would say, first of all, you have to schedule and commit. So something that helped me commit was to go live at a certain time each day, then block out time after to record and edit and write a description. And that is how you don't forget, because you just have that description. I put it in, I use the Todoist app. It's totally free. It is a game changer for me. I put everything in it. I just put, this is what's in the podcast, a little synopsis about it. Then it's easy to go live to my stories and say, this is what we're talking about. If you do not do that full process, then it is 50 Shades of the Drama. Because there were, I think, 3 days we were traveling and I purely did the Facebook Live and I chose to do the YouTube content after. And this was at the very tail end. So I was like, it's okay, it won't back up because we're really at the end now. You'll notice if you go back and if you watch on YouTube, the background is different because we're not in our own space, we're in Airbnb. So you'll see that. But to not get behind is so key. So at the end, you have a little bit of leeway, but earlier on, not so much. And definitely pre-create your short form content. That's like an extra bonus hack, because yes, that was kind of like a mini creation of content, but I reckon that you could probably do it better, or I could have definitely done it better in creating short form content after I had read it twice, presented it, then you'll know as well as I do, after you've presented something twice, there are nuggets that you're like, this part was key, this part was genius. I don't know where that part came from. Sometimes, like, some of this is not scripted. I swear, it just comes to me. So those moments, you can either go back and you can cut up your video, your audio, or you can just recreate it by yourself and get creative with it. For example, something I could talk about from today is I could talk about how important perception is reality is in your consistency as a business coach, and how you would show that to people. And that would be very easy to create a story, or more, remember a story, not create a story, to proposition it to Instagram with some B-roll of me working in the background and being consistent at something. It's really simple when you actually break it down to the mechanics. So that is how I would overcome all of those cons. And I'm totally aware that we had less pros, but all of the cons were fixable. So if you'd like to try this in your business, you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. Y'all are welcome. And now for the top hack that I promised at the beginning is, how do you know what to talk about? I will say this till the end of time. as a coach, you have to ask your audience. You have to do market research. If you've been here before, you'll know I am a big fan of the market research. If you cannot do the market research, how do you think you're going to ask for the sale is a first question. If you're like, I don't do market research. And if you don't think it's valuable, if you're sitting and twiddling your thumbs and you're like, I'm not sure what to ask my audience, it's so valuable. So what I did before I created my course, so remember this first 21 days was for my course. So before I created my course, I did some market research. I asked some people that were in the kind of space that I thought they could use my help. I really like them, so I want to work with them. And I asked them if they would do market research with me. So we did some market research. So we did a bunch of different questions. And here is the question that I asked. So if you write down anything, if you pull your car to the side if it's safe, if you're listening on podcast and write this down, if there is anything you will take from this particular podcast, YouTube, wherever you're watching, listening, let it be this question for your market research. It's gold. If you had to use the YouTube search bar to find the answer to the challenges that you've spoken about already, what would you type to get started? If you had to use the YouTube search bar to find the answers to the challenges that you've already spoken about, what would you type to get started? There you have it. All of your answers. We don't get gatekeep in our house. This is exactly how you can create 5 months of content in 21 days, because you will get questions that you'll just answer. What do people type in Google or into YouTube or into podcasts? How to start a business, how to become a coach, do you need qualifications? They will ask all of these questions. How to connect with other female entrepreneurs, like they will ask these questions in the search bar. This is what people are genuinely searching. So all you do is answer that question. I know, it's very simple. And you can do this. It's so easy for you to do this. But before you go and try this, I want you to know that there will never be a perfect time. And I know that I alluded to don't do it on your period if you can help it. And trust me, it will just be really helpful overall to not schedule things in that week if it's possible. It's not always possible. It doesn't say don't do anything in your period and retreat to a cave. No, I feel like that, but you don't have to. It's to say give yourself alleviation in those weeks. And that's why the consistency method through this batch creation is so useful, because on those weeks, you don't have to think about another thing. I'm all about how can I put in a lot of energy in a short space of time to give myself such a long break? How can I do that? And this is how. So there will never be a perfect time, whether it's in your cycle, my darlings, or part of my 21 days, like I said, was filmed in spare bedrooms of friends' houses and Airbnbs. There will never be a perfect time where you're not traveling or where you'll always have that particular slot available. If you're, aiming for, I'm going to go live at 9 o'clock every single day. I think that's what I did for 21 days. If there is a deviation, you can always say the day before, we'll be here at 11 o'clock tomorrow because of XYZ. So don't let not having the perfect circumstances throw you off the game here. It doesn't have to, right? When I did this, it wasn't perfect, but perfect isn't the point. It got done. It generated clients. It guaranteed consistency. That's the point. So if you have any questions about today, please drop me a DM at the CEO Crowd on Instagram. Everything is at the CEO Crowd. Check out our new website, www.theceocrowd.com. I'm so proud of the rebrand and so excited to really dive in with what the CEO Crowd is and share even more with you here about what it is that we're doing. I know there was a couple of nuggets, but we're definitely planning something special for you. And I suppose, better yet, instead of just hearing about it, come and hang out with us at our next event. either our weekly networking, or we do have a special day, the 30th of November. You know, this is in real time because I'm telling you something real time. The 30th of November, we're actually doing a lead gen live training. So this is where you'll get to join our membership for a training call and receive a live demonstration of how to generate leads, how we've been filling rooms of women weekly. We started off monthly. They were booking out so far in advance. We transitioned to weekly. We're now booking out. We're 2 weeks booked out now. And those spaces are going so fast. We're blessed. If you want to learn how to do that, then come along, because no leads equals no clients equals no business equals no bueno. Ain't nobody happy with that. This is a non-negotiable skill that is so dang easy, just like this training was. It's so easy. We keep no secrets. This is not a masterclass. This is a training. And also, if you refer a friend, you'll receive the next step, because typically after you've got the leads, then you're making the sales. So you'll receive our Sales Mastery Series program completely free if you recommend a friend, and you'll have access to our 50K plus high ticket sales script and training for how to sell in the DM. So we hope to see you there. And until next Tuesday, we'll be over here at the CEO Crowd, believing in you.